powering you up. Yes, sir. Get on the formula.
This is Appetite for Distortion.
Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode number 385. My name is Brando. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Max Cavalera. How are you, sir?
Good to be here. Good to be part of episode 385. That's a good number.
I think so. Getting there.
It is, man. It's killer, but 300. That's amazing, man. I'm very happy to be talking to you today. Just getting ready to go on the road and just trying to, get people excited for the tour, for the upcoming projects and all that. But yeah, man, good to be here chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're giving me my segues a bit, because the 385, for one, that kind of helps my OCD, where it's kind of like an even-ish number. I like the way 385 flows, so that in my head, it bothers me when I land on a 6 or a 7. That's a whole other set of problems I have. But you're talking about being on the road, because I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing radio in general for longer. I've been doing it for 20 years, but I haven't been on the road, so to speak, as long as you have. So as you're about to embark on this massive tour across America, including the borough right next to mine, I'm in Queens right now. You're going to be coming to Brooklyn.
Right, yeah.
What is going out on the road mean to you all these years later? I mean, you're a road warrior. Do you look forward to it? Is it a job at all at this point? Or, is it your favorite part of what you do? Tell me about being on the road all these decades into your career.
So, yeah, I mean, some of my favorite memories in life were created on the road, I think the road is it's a fantastic place where we as musicians, I think, sometimes take for granted, but we have this just awesome opportunity to see the world in a way that a lot of people don't see it. I've been to 85 countries, and you get to really experience the culture, the vibe, the city, the people, the food, the drinks. It's awesome. And I'm like you say, I'm a road dog, man. Like, I'm born for this. Like, in fact, I'm one of the few guys, when I get out of tours, when I get back home, I have withdrawals. I wish I was still on tour. I'm like, my body is hurting. I need to go on tour. What time is the show tonight? My wife's like, we're not playing tonight. You're at home. I really love it, man. I love the whole. Like I said, some of my best memories are from touring. As we get older, I get to talk to my son. My son the other day was asking me about Dimebag. He's like, how's Dimebag? Because I know you tour with him. And I got to sit down with my son and have a good hour conversation with him about my friend Dimebag, and it was like, Dimebag was one of the few guys on tour that remember my birthday one time and gave me a pair of very new wave camouflage color pants. Was always trying to get me to do shots 10 in the morning, and I'll be like, hey, Dime, we gotta play tonight, man. It doesn't matter. Let's do a shot. All right, let's do a shot. And those memories are they are in your brain for like forever. And it's like, I think that's, to me, the coolest thing that I can take away from all those tours are these friendships that you create with other guys, with other bands. And then, a lot of the Soulfly fans are friends that we made on. So a lot of times we go to cities, we know exactly. All right, this guy's coming, that guy's coming, and we have nicknames for them and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, I look forward to the whole thing. I love fucking around in the tour bus with the guys, watching the Eric Andre show. Um, you know, just being guys. It's a band thing. The whole band is on the front lounge. I don't drink anymore. I've
Me neither.
been straight edge now for 15 years, but I still party with them. Especially
Sure.
when one of them are getting fucked up. It's funny. Oh, that motherfucker's going down tonight.
Yeah, I
I
know.
love it. I love it. I love. We prank some of them. There was one roadie that hated pickles, so I put a bunch of pickles on under his pillow, and at night, he opened the curtain. There was pickles everywhere in his bunk. It's like, yep, I did that.
Nice.
I'll be the prankster of that. I'll take full credit of that. Yeah, but it's cool. Like we have a lot of the same crew guys. I think my guitar crew, Kenny's been with me now for 25 years, close to 25, beginning of Soulfly. We have the same sound man for about 15 years. And then we also get to experiment with some new people. We have a new guitar player, Mike DeLeon. I never tour with Mike, so I don't know. Like it's gonna be cool. It's exciting. It's a new guy, and but it's super exciting that I get to do that with Soulfly. I get to introduce all these amazing guitar players to the world. I had the chance to play with Dino Cazares, was an old friend of mine, and
Beer
I
factory.
saw the opportunity to do something with Dino. It's like, let's do it. It's gonna be fun. Um, and then this opportunity came with Mike DeLeon. He's mostly, does a lot of work with Phil and
Phil Anselmo.
Illegos and Pantera. Yeah, so it was like, yeah, he's a shredder. He's from Texas.
Okay.
I thought he's a Cowboys fan. I don't hold that against him. It's I see the Giants fan. My grandkids are Giants fan.
They're in the
So
playoffs. I couldn't believe I have
yes,
to support. I have to
let's
I
go.
I
Let's
didn't think
go.
they would be.
My Lions got out. My
How you
Lions got out, but I fully support New York now.
there's so much to unpack with what you said. First off, how are you a Lions fan?
That's like what everybody asks.
Right?
So like in grocery store, people go, "Hey, what part of Detroit you from?" Like, I'm from Brazil, man.
Does that sound like a Detroit accent? No.
I'm from Brazil. Got nothing to do with now. The real story goes, I moved to Arizona, and everybody here is a Cardinals fan,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to be. I wanted like Cardinals to be my second team. I want to have my own team.
Okay.
Um, so being a Leo by birth,
Oh.
I picked the Lions just because of the logo. Didn't know nothing about the team. I have no idea who play. I don't know much about the history. I'm still learning. Finally got to know about Barry Sanders now.
Okay.
But I remember picking them and my wife telling me, get ready to suffer. You're gonna suffer a lot. It's gonna hurt and you're gonna have some miserable seasons. And I was like, no, it can't be that bad. Yes,
It's
it's
that
that
bad.
bad.
It's that
It's
bad. That's so you probably picked the worst team in football.
it
That's so funny.
probably, but I stick with them. And this year was pretty damn nice. That last game against Green Bay was sweet.
Ah, that's
That was
true.
sweet. We didn't make it, but it was sweet to go in their turf and kick their ass like that. I actually made a bet with Gloria's brother, my wife's brother, and if I lose, if I would have lost, I had to paint my fingernails green and yellow, and I
That
had to
would have
go
been,
on tour. I had to go on tour with that.
oh my God.
And if he lose, he paints his silver and blue. Well, he lost, so he's doing these nails right now.
Oh, that's really
Um,
funny.
and I joke. I say, yeah, I have the excuse. I can say this is for Brazil. Green Bay, Green Bay and Brazil have the same colors. But
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
we did make the bet, and I thought for sure I was gonna lose the bet. Um, just just didn't happen. But yeah, no, I love being Brazilian. Of course, I grew up with soccer, and I still love soccer. I watch the whole World Cup and everything, but I became more Americanized through the years, and I fell in love with football. Man, it's fucking amazing.
Okay.
I remember when I didn't like it. When I first moved here, I watched a game. I was like, this sucks. There's a commercial every 5 seconds. The thing stops every 20 seconds. There's
so
a
funny.
Budweiser commercial. What the fuck? I don't like this. And then at one point, I watched one playoff game. It was Cardinals and Green Bay. We went to the stadium. That was my football moment. Like the football gods came. I was like baptized. The fucking atmosphere on the stadium. The place erupted when the Cardinals scored a touchdown. It's like, whoa.
I find this interesting.
This is awesome. I was like, this is fucking awesome. I love this now. I love football now.
It's so
Even
funny.
my Brazilian friends like, wait, you like American football now? I'm like, yeah, I do. It's fucking great.
Right. They're like, okay, it's not football. You barely use your foot. It's so funny. I did not expect to be talking football with you, Max, today, and I love it. I really do.
Cool. Yeah.
Because it's connecting at another level. It's not always talking about the same thing, but it gives me thoughts what I want to talk to you about today. Because where you got to travel, you say you get to meet different people by doing tours. I kind of, in my own way, do that by doing this podcast. I involve listeners from all over the world and finding out about their cultures. So it's interesting to hear from a Brazilian where it's on my bucket list to go to a concert in Brazil because I look at those fans out there and the passion out there. You don't get that in America. So that I guess find interesting. But before
I mean, your job is, to me, from the outside, it looks like real fun. I mean, you get to talk to a lot of your heroes, and
sure,
and then you get to pick their brain, and even if it's just like a casual conversation, like you're sitting in a bar, that's even cooler, I think, right?
That's what we're doing right now. I think.
Right.
We don't drink. We're at the bar. We don't drink. We're having our lemon and seltzer.
Got coffee, but yeah, I mean,
I got my water, my Ninja Turtles thermos.
There you go, awesome cup. No, man, you should go. You should go because the festivals in Brazil are insane. We never knew that until the first Rock in Rio in 1986. That when Ozzy came down there and he was like, like a fucking pirate, and Iron Maiden and Scorpions, and we realized without knowing that Brazil is a heavy metal country.
Yeah.
We had no idea. Nobody in Brazil had a clue that this country loved heavy metal until we had the Rock in Rio, which is a 7-day festival with pop music, with jazz. The heavy metal day was by far the sold out day of the week. And I remember in the press, people saying Brazil is officially a heavy metal country. And of course, then I started Sepultura and became the most famous Brazilian heavy metal band outside Brazil,
Yeah.
And a lot of people view me as like that in Brazil. I'm very respected for what I did for the country, and it's a cool relationship that I have. But the festivals are amazing. There are massive crowds, and if you have a chance, I highly recommend you go and explore the country. It's a cool country to see too. It's very very tropical. A lot of cool stuff to do. It's a big ass country, like
sure.
from top to from the south to the north. I think there's a lot of land. Flying wise, I think it's 7-8 hours from the south to the north of Brazil.
Okay.
But it's a killer country to visit. People are very friendly. A lot of people that go to Brazil, they say the same. I love the people. The people are the best. Brazilians are very friendly, very warm. And it's like very party people too. We like to party in Brazil. You go there, you're gonna party.
Yeah, the celebrations, when the team wins, the real the football team wins. I don't want to say the soccer team. I want to be respectful because it's
Right.
football
Football.
there. But that kind of parlays into another question that I have, because my travels may have to be on hold because I'm gonna be a first-time dad in April. But you,
Congratulations.
thank you. But you're currently touring with your son because he's the drummer. So I would love
Right.
to. Did you ever foresee that? Like, I'm wondering, just brief parent advice. Like, am I ever going to sleep like again? And also, just did you ever envision when he was just a little boy that you would be almost in business together? I don't know if you would describe it as that, but he's the drummer of Soulfly. And to go on
Yeah.
tour with
So
him, like when, because you weren't, I don't know how, did you take him on tour with you when he was a kid? Like, was he always part of the
we
tour
did.
life? Okay.
We did. We did. It was a kind of a thing that me and my wife. I travel with her all the time because she was Sepultura's manager
Mhm.
first, and then we fell in love and we got married. And I moved here. I moved from Brazil to Arizona. Started a new life here, and that's when Zion, my first kid, was born. The one that plays drums, and his heartbeat opens Chaos AD, the Sepultura record, And I was in the doctor's office with a fucking DAC machine, headphones. Doctors like trying to kick me out. I was like, lady, I have to record this. You don't understand. This is going in a very important record. I mean, I didn't know Chaos AD was going to be that important, but to me, it was important record.
That's so funny.
Um,
And
so
metal.
so yeah, so I recorded. I recorded his heartbeat. His heartbeat opens the record. It's forever immortalized there. Um, and then we did took them on all the tours because we didn't when we were very young we didn't want to like them not to know us, and spending 9 months of the year on tour.
Right.
If you don't see your kid for 9 months, when you come home, your kid's not gonna know who the fuck you are. You'll be like, "Who is this?" I didn't want that, so we took them on tour with us, and it was funny because I remember the early stuff was like a lot of Ozfests and a lot of you'll be the two of them, Zion and Igor, and the both of them will be sleeping in guitar cases, and we'd be watching Ozzy in the background, doing the Ozzy thing, and playing, and they're sleeping on their guitar cases, man. That was fucking awesome. It was cool. It was like this is so rock and roll,
It's cute. Yeah.
This is so rock and roll. It's so cool. But yeah, they were born on the road, and a couple of times where it was kind of fucked up. They got a little bigger, and one time I think we were in France, and the bus was surrounded by fans. There was like hundreds of them, and my son comes out of the window and starts flipping off all the fans. And I was like, dude, you can't do that, man. Listen, listen. Let me tell you something. All right, they support me. They pay for your fucking diapers and your drinks and your PlayStation. Stop flipping them off. It was just a lot of funny moments like that, and they got to meet a lot of famous guys. They meet like Tonayomi
That's cool.
and the Metallica guys and Rob Halford, Iron Maiden. So it's cool that we brought them up, and then of course I always had in the back of my mind, I hope one day they become they become good musicians, and B, I get to jam with them, and that those two things came to life, which was amazing, So I'm like that one proud dad that got to actually the dream did come true,
Yeah.
um, which is crazy because for a little bit they were really into hip hop and stuff, and I was like, yep, that goes my window. They're gonna become hip hop thugs, motherfuckers, and that's it. They're not gonna want nothing to do with metal, and it's over. God damn it! But it was just a brief moment, and they grow out of it, and they start listening to metal. Zion is a more conservative, very into old school metal. It's all about Sabbath and Zeppelin. Those are his two favorite bands, and
Okay.
you know,
But
You
what
like
about
some?
today though? Like the Zion, like who's the like does he feel like he's a veteran of the road since he's been on the road since he was born? Like do you ever is it a father son thing or is it maybe a
Well,
singer drummer thing there? Is
yeah,
there a good
yeah,
balance?
yeah. He connects now with other musicians, which is cool. I like to see that. You know, like in Australia, he was totally connecting with Mario from Gojira and Abe from the Deftones, and they're taking pictures together. And you know, he's in awe of those guys, right? Uh, those are great in his mind. Those are like amazing drummers that he listened to them for a long time, and he has a chance to play with them now in those big festivals, you know. So that was cool. It's cool. He takes that super serious. He's like, they're watching us. I can't fuck up. And
That's cool.
I try to be like, hey Zion, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I have a lot of other people watching me, and I did fuck up. So
Well, that's
if you
sweet.
fuck up, you know, it's like don't worry about it. But he's super serious, you know, super into it, you
But
know. So
that's
it's
good to
cool.
hear from a dad being like, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You know,
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah.
not hard on them. And I don't mean to cut you off. I just know you're at a lot of interviews today, and there's so much I want to talk to you about. And I feel like again, we're just two dudes at a bar. I forget that I have a time limit. I'm like I can sit and talk to you for hours. But speaking of Brazil, though, to go back to it, I'm very lucky that it's one thing if like for you, music is the universal language. I obviously only well, not obviously, but I only speak English, and that's also debatable of how well I speak it. But I have listeners all over the world and a lot in Brazil. So this is from Rafael Tavares. And if you noticed the name of this podcast, Appetite for Distortion, you may have noticed the Guns N' Roses posters behind me. Uh,
Duff is great. I got a chance to meet Duff 2 times,
okay,
and he's super cool, man.
right on.
Super cool.
So,
Yeah, very
so
cool guy.
that's a because I use a what's called a 6 degrees of GNR bacon or what I call it. So that's good that you have that connection right there. But I didn't know this because Raphael told me that back in the day, your brother Igor was invited to audition to play drums. So what did you think of that? I guess of that at the time. When was that?
To play drums for Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's news to me.
Okay.
He's been asked to do some. He's been asked to do some main stuff. I know that Slipknot at one point consider asking him. Mike Patton is a big friend of his too, and Mike almost got him into one of his projects that he do, but I never knew that. I thought it would be cool. You know, I think Igor is a great drummer. Um, he can play anything. He would definitely be able to play
Oh,
the rock stuff. You know, growing up listening to all different stuff. Um, I always, unlike some of the guys from my era, I really always love and appreciate uh, what Guns N' Roses brought to the table, because I kind of thought like the glam metal thing was happening, but they were not that. There was something else. You know, they were like real rock and roll, and they gave rock and roll a kick in the ass when it needed. That's the way I see it. You know, I think the record was great. The videos were great. Um, the attitude was great. You know, and when I got the chance to meet Duff, you know, um, it really impressed me that his knowledge also of a lot of the punk stuff. He knew a lot about the
sure.
punk scene and all that. You know, that was like really cool.
Where did you
Um,
meet him? Where did you meet Duff?
it was a festival. It was a festival in Belgium.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
one time, and what we also play Rock in Rio um, in Brazil, and that was in 93. I was gonna say 93. I think it was it was a killer Rock in Rio. It had Sepultura, Fate No More, Judas Priest, Megadeth, and Guns N' Roses were the headliner. Yeah, and we're all in the same hotel. We're all staying in the same hotel,
Oh wow, that's bananas.
which was zoo. It was a zoo, you
Zoo.
know.
Perfect. Perfect way to describe it.
But yeah, that was really cool. And I remember also, is it Matt, the drummer, Matt Sorum, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he was hanging out. There was a party that we all went for Rock in Rio, and this is gonna sound super absurd, but it did happen. We couldn't get in on the party, and we were on the line to enter the club, and they closed the club. And behind it was me, my wife, Matt Sorum is right next to me. Behind me is Billy Idol, and none of us were getting in. You guys, not even motherfuckers are coming
Not
in.
even Billy Idol? Come
Not
on.
even Billy. Not even Billy, man. Everybody was like, the bouncer was like, it's closed. Everybody, get the fuck home. You know, it was like, what? Are you serious? This is insane, man. But yeah, so that was that was a fun memory of that night of that Rock in Rio. It was a night off. You know, we didn't have a show that
Okay.
night,
I like
so we
that.
just kind of went out, and there was something going on in this club, but we couldn't get in. But yeah, I play another festival in Germany or Holland where they were also on the bill, but they were real late. I don't know what happened, and
Guns N'
I
Roses
think
are late. That I mean, it's not anymore. Not recently, but that
it's
was
like
kind of their MO back in the day.
they were real late, and the promoter kept asking us to keep playing. So we start adding songs, and I ran out of songs. So I told the guy, "We're done, brother. You know, like this is it." Yeah, I think we reached the 2 hour, period. It was like
That's
I don't
funny.
have, and I told the promoter, I don't have more songs in Cyrus.
I'm tapped out.
I start repeating them, man. Oh
Oh, that's
shit,
funny.
and yeah. So, and then I think after that there was another 2 hours before they play. Um, but still, they went on. It was a great show. I
Right
watched
on.
a little bit from the side of the stage, and yeah, I always really thought they were just real good songs. Just like real good, real rock and roll songs. And I never understand the glam thing, but I like some of the stuff. I like Poison. The music.
Me,
Rat, Poison. I think those killer songs.
sure.
Um, we can appreciate more. Back then it was a bit rebellious. It was everywhere. MTV, that's all they play. So it was natural for us to be like, cue all the posers and all this shit.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But the older you get, you appreciate the art form, and I think Appetite for Destruction, one of the most badass records ever made.
Right on. Right on. I know we're up against it. Do you have another interview after this? Because I want to ask at least one more question. Do you have another
Oh
one?
yeah, we're good for one more. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because they kind of circle back to the beginning because you had mentioned it. Because I'm hoping to have my first time seeing Pantera. I don't know how you would explain that. I don't know if I could afford it to go to see Metallica and Pantera. And you mentioned your friend Dimebag. How would you? I guess how do you feel about? I don't. I think the word reunion sometimes people like attach themselves to that. Is it a celebration of music? How do you view that? Because as somebody who's never gotten a chance to see Dime or Pantera, I want to hear the songs live, and this is my only opportunity.
Right. Yeah, you should go. I think it's cool that they're doing that. I do something very similar with my brother, where we go out and we play, a lot of Sepultura albums there. The fans really love it, and they never got a chance to see it for one reason or the other, and they get to see it with the real drums and the real vocals and the real guitar.
Right.
So it's the closest you get to the real thing. And Pantera is the same thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm friends with all of those guys, and I've been friends with Phil for many years, and I actually thank him for letting me borrow his guitar player. Mike DeLeon is jamming with us, and he plays with Illegals with Phil Anselmo for many years. So I thank Phil for letting me borrow his guitar player. Yeah, I think it's cool, especially the generation that never got to see it. I was there. I got to see it from the side of the stage every night. It was great. Uh, you know, I don't know how none of us end up in a hospital from alcohol poisoning after the first tour. I think the first Sepultura Pantera, I think it was Biohazard,
Oh, yeah.
and that was fucking every night. I remember one of their crew guys. I look at him and I say, "You're not a crew guy. You're a bartender." That's what I said to him, because there was the guitars in a bar right next to the guitar stand. Occasionally he'll give Dime a guitar, but most of the time he was mixing drinks. It was an insane thing just to be part of it, man, and it was cool. And then I did one with Soulfly, um, Soulfly, Pantera, Morbid Angel. Uh, that was also just really, really amazing. So I got to see that. I got to be part of it. But I'm thinking about people that never got to see, never got to experience that. For sure, you go see it. It's really um, uh, it's not the original thing, but is as close as you can get from the original thing, and
Sure.
it's fucking cool. I mean, the music's so powerful, it's so good, it's so cool that it's um it will get through the people, and I feel that when I do those things with my brother, when we play those old songs, it connects to the whole audience. And it's like it's a huge tribute, you know. Um, yeah, it's it sucks that Dimebag and Vinny are no longer here.
Sure.
But at the same time, I think it's if especially if you're a young kid and never you grow up loving Pantera and never got to see it, for sure, go see it, man. It's cool. Like, just be part of it. It's a unique experience.
Right on. And also, people, I should not let it go by the wayside, need to see Soulfly in concert. And you're about to embark. So I'll wrap up here. And you're kicking off some dates locally for you in Arizona. It all starts what, the 25th
Right.
at the Rock. And I will say I made my first trip to Arizona. I think it was last summer, or the year before. I love it. I love it. There's no such thing as cold out there, or at least when I went. I know it's the world is changing, but very, very, very
Uh
nice out there.
yeah, it's hot as fuck in the summer here. Almost unbearable. But the rest of the year is good. Like right now, it's a little chilly.
I'll say this. I actually met up with former Guns N' Roses manager Alan Niven. He lives in Prescott, and
Okay.
I had no idea how sensitive my stomach was. We're taking the scenic route to get to him. Needless to say, I met him by having a road car sickness in front of him.
Oh
I'll
wow.
leave it at that. It was
Okay.
so now Dramamine. Whenever I'm driving in Arizona, I need to have Dramamine and take that.
Yeah. No,
That's how cool I am.
Arizona is really unique. I fell in love with the desert, and it's a bit like, you know, um, I remember watching like the Doors movie and seeing
Uh,
scenes of the desert and all that. How Jim Morrison connected with the desert, and I understand why. It's there's some magic here, man.
right on.
There is some really. I do a lot of stuff also with the Navajos, man. I go there and play for the Navajo reservation. We
Oh,
have many
sweet.
fans, a lot of fans. We know the president, and they go fucking nuts, man. The Navajo, the the Raz, as they call, they go, they love fucking Soulfly, man. When we play there, it's fucking balls to the wall, circle pits and sage diving, and they just go
Wow.
totally nuts. It's awesome, and I love that I get to also experience the culture of it. The culture side of
Yes.
the of Arizona and the Navajos and all that. It's really cool.
All part of what going back to earlier with touring and meeting other people and different cultures. And I just loved, thank you for doing this for so many years. And giving the fans what they want. And I mean, go to soulfly.com. The list is ridiculous.
Yes.
You're not going to have any rooms to breathe, but it sounds like that's kind of what you want.
That's
so
it's what we do. We roll dogs.
Right on. And so Max, thank you so much, and best of luck to your Lions. I'm really rooting for you guys. You gotta, you need something. I have no problem with the Lions, so good
cool.
luck. Good luck to you guys.
I'm going. Like I said, I'm going for my grandkid. I'm going for the Giants now. That everybody, the Lions is out, so Cardinals is out. Cardinals had a miserable season. So yeah, I'm going. Go Giants. Go New York. Let's go.
Right on. Thank you so much.
All right,
Max.
my man.
I appreciate
Good to talk
your time.
to you, man.
You got it. That was a fun one. Did not expect to talk to Max Cavalera of Soulfly about the Detroit Lions and Barry Sanders. I love it, but I feel like that's something you're only going to get on this podcast. Yeah, like people like Max or the episode before with Mike Portnoy, they are there for a reason to promote something, a tour, a new album. But the interviews can get stale. Max had interviews before and after me. Same thing with Mike Portnoy. So if I get sidetracked, because I saw some comments recently like, I was talking too much about Rush with Mike at the beginning. But what I find, like talking about the NFL with Max, it opens up the guest. It makes it a more unique and personable experience. And you know what? It helps me, to be honest with you. It helps us engage people in the small little window that I have to interview them. That's why I will talk about myself, so they get to know me a little bit, that I'm not just another person with a microphone to interview them. So I wanted to get that out there because there was a comment that stuck out to me from the previous interview with Mike Portnoy, which did really well. Ironically, if you listen to that episode, we spoke about clickbait. We're talking about the Matt Sorum thing from 10 years ago, and it becomes clickbait again today, which kind of pissed off Mike Portnoy. Not my fault. Blame Blabbermouth. He knows that. I mean, what am I going to do? Who would have thought? I'm going to bring up something from 10 years ago that was a nothing burger, and it's good for me with exposure and getting my Appetite for Distortion brand out there, but I don't like to do it when it bums my guest out. So I try to always ask them not the most personal questions, or questions like they may not want to answer. Like, I didn't know how much Max would have wanted to talk about Dimebag or anything from his previous life or bands, but he was very open. So I could tell that right away just through talking about football. So that's something I wanted to mention. And I also want to mention before I forget it. So Raf, our listener Raf Tavares from Brazil, I don't know, man. We're going to have to dig more research. He wrote back in the day his brother Igor was invited to an audition to play drums in GNR. It was in the late 90s or something. Igor already said it wouldn't have been a good match, but he would like to know what his brother thought about it. And apparently Max didn't even know about it. So, interesting. It would be interesting. I mean, why would he... Raph, you must have heard that somewhere. So it's interesting that Max didn't hear about it at all. So that does it for this episode of Appetite for Distortion. What is to come? Well, always follow on social media. That's how the conversation continues in between the broadcasts. That's how you can find out about the next guests. For me to ask your questions, just like I did with Raph, even though we didn't get an answer, but a good conversation out of it. So our next guest is going to be David Peisner, who wrote the Rolling Stone article about Rick Dunsford and the locker room leaks, the search for the lost GNR masterpiece, I believe was the title of it. So we're going to talk to him. We're going to see if anything was left on the cutting room floor, what he can and can't say about that article and all the Guns N' Roses leaks that were out there. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. Also, the founder of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, which is just tremendous. The who's who of every rock star has been a part of this, including, Slash and everybody. So it's going to be David Bischoff. That's coming up. And also Sean Bevan, one of the producers for Chinese Democracy, is going to return to the podcast. Other than that, not sure. Again, follow on social media. That's how you can get involved and possibly even be a co-host, one of my co-hosts. Also, don't forget to follow our brand new spin-off podcast, Appetite for Horror, which is I also have social media for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Appetite, the number 4 horror on Twitter and Instagram, and Appetite 4 FOR horror on Facebook. Already have 6 episodes up there. And I just got an email. It reminds me, as soon as I'm done with recording this episode, I'm going to go email Clint Howard back. You know Clint Howard. Ron Howard's brother, the one that's kind of unique looking, that you've seen him. He's been in a million movies. Oh, man, I hope I get to interview him. So stay tuned for what's going to happen with Appetite for Horror as well. But that does it again for this episode of Appetite for Distortion. When will you see the next one? In the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, you'll see it. I don't know if soon is the word.